It's time to talk about some anime EDs. I already basically broke down how this video series works, what exactly was the thought process behind my choices and all that stuff when I talked about OPs. I expect you probably will have seen that already before you watch my discussing EDs videos. So I'm going to skip over a lot of that, but I do want to talk about a few things that I just wanted to sort of clarify after seeing the responses to the OP videos, because I ended up recording all of those before Otakon, and now we're post Otakon, which, man, was that a gratifying experience. But reading through those comments, there was a lot of people sort of asking about why this or that OP didn't make the list, or just surprised by my choices or by my taste in music. And I think that a lot of things probably became clear about what my taste is through the process of eventually seeing me talk about all those shows. For me, it's kind of evident just in watching the video that what I like tends to be very intense songs with lots of stuff going on, stuff that's very emotionally over the top and sort of big in sound. The closer you get to the front of the list, the more I feel like there's a lot in common between all the different songs. And, when I talk about them, I tend to use a lot of the same adjectives. So I feel like you can get a sense of it from that. But, there were a lot of things that were, just outside the top 100. A lot of people asked about the Utena OP or, God, I knew there was a couple more I had in mind, but there's a few that were this would be in the 110s or 120s or something like that. I cut off the list at 100 just because I think I had close to 150 candidates, and I thought about doing a top 150, but I just felt like I wanted to focus on ones that I felt very strongly about and try not to put in too much extra. There were two that I left off that should have been in there. That I was upset with myself for forgetting. One is the Legend of Black Heaven OP, which is fucking incredible. It's another one of those where it's an obscure show. Nobody else is going to have it on their list. So, when I'm just blazing through my mal trying to find everything, I didn't think about it. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. It probably would have been in the top 20. And then also, what was the other one that I was going to include that I didn't? Well, I can't remember once again what it was. It probably wouldn't have been as high up on the list. I can't say for sure. I literally can't remember what the second show was that I discovered I had forgotten. But yeah. So definitely there were some that would have just been right behind the list, but there were other songs people were surprised didn't make it that I just don't like that much. And it's really hard to explain to somebody why you don't like a song when you do like another similar song. But I think if you were to really consider what I like about all the songs that I talked about, if you listen to me describing what I like about those songs and then listen to the songs that I didn't put on the list and compare them, you will see which elements of what I like were not present in those songs in question. Although in some cases, for instance, with the Tokyo Ghoul OP, some people were surprised I didn't have that because it's by TK from Ling Toshite Segure, and I just don't really like his solo material. I don't like the way that his electronic production sounds as much as the rock music that he does with this band, and I also think his vocals get really annoying when they are too prominent with all his weird breathiness and stuff. The vocals are kind of something I had to get used to in Ling Toshite Segure, and there are some songs where I find that their voices become grating, but I just really love the performances enough that I can sort of look past that. So yeah, there's some stuff, obviously I'm not the biggest fan of pop music, as I kind of say continually throughout those videos, which is why a lot of stuff didn't make the list. Both the ones I liked from Monogatari are the overly sugary pop, and very noteworthy in that they use different instrumentation than the average song does, whereas I don't really care about any of the other Monogatari OPs at all. And a lot of them people were like, oh, how did this not make it? And it's just I just don't really care about Stable. It doesn't do anything for me, So, yeah. I guess that's all the clarifications I need before I just jump right into the EDs list. Also, I think I'm going to do an insert songs list on top of these two because, as I talked about before, Every year when I go to Otakon, I create a giant playlist of all my favorite anime songs. This year was easy to make that playlist because I had just made a top 100 OPs and a top 60 EDs list, and I just downloaded the full lengths of all those from YouTube, threw them on my phone, and that was what we listened to and from Otakon. But I also had a ton of insert songs just already on my phone, and when I saw how many there were, I was like, this really deserves its own list. Like, there's not as many shows that have insert songs, so the pool of actual shows will be a lot smaller, but there's tons of great songs from a lot of those shows, so yeah, stick around, and maybe I'll do that. I don't know if it'll be 50, 100, however many. Let's do the fucking EDs. At number 60, kicking off the list, I'm calling the Star Eyes. It's the goddamn Bamboo Blade ending theme. And honestly, I don't really love this full song. It's mostly the chorus, which is a great chorus that I think anybody would appreciate. But the best thing about this song, what's made it stay in my memory, is its place in the Nico Nico Doga Ryu Seigun. So if you've never heard of this, the Japanese site Nico Nico Doga, which is like the Japanese YouTube equivalent, essentially, known for the fact that the comments scroll across the screen as opposed to being under the video, they have a very thick meme culture. Like, a lot of the anime, what are called MADs, M-A-Ds, come from there, and, you know, back in like 2009, I was really into Nico Nico Doga, and that was around the time when they created this thing called the Ryusegan, which is this gigantic 12-minute like medley of all the popular stuff from the website, all the popular musical memes, as well as visual memes placed on top of that. And it was just like a totally chaotic, insane mega mix of all these songs, all these videos just playing over each other. And I've watched it probably 100 times. I've memorized it, sang along to it many times over the years. And it opens with, I'm calling the Star Eyes. So I felt the need to open my list with that song as well. Like, I mean, it also probably would legitimately be number 60. It could go either way with the Zoku Zetsubo ED that I put on there, but yeah, it's mostly just how bombastic that specific lyric is, how well it kicks off the chorus. And the chorus is pretty fine too. And I like the production sound of the song, but I just don't really think the verses are all that good. And the video is sort of just a camera going around in circles showing the girls in the club. It's fine. EDs are kind of weird because some of them go way farther than others on the video side. Like, it basically comes down to certain shows just deciding to have a really incredible ED video. And so, like, if I was judging this on audio and video in equal measure, there would basically be, like, 3 shows that completely dominate the list, cough, K-on, cough, and everything else would be way farther down. Just like with the OP's list, I'm just judging this on general feeling. Just however whatever my emotions are towards the ED, that's how I made the decisions. So, with this list, there's going to be a lot fewer ones with really amazing videos, as well as just a bigger variety in song types, because you can kind of do whatever you want with EDs. And I'm generally not the biggest fan of like the slow ballad that tends to be the choice for EDs, so you're not going to see much of like the average ED on my list. All right, for number 59, I have what's it actually called? Marionette Teacher's Pet, something like that. The first Zoku Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei ED, or second Zoku Zetsubo ED. This one is just a cute, fun little song about being the teacher's pet. Sensei no peto, as he sings in the song. What I like about this song is that it goes from just being kind of a chipper, upbeat little rock song that's cute and fun, and then it goes into this very dramatic part where it suddenly becomes really like gothic, and there's a line where the guy sings something and he says violence, and I love the way he says violence at that part. I love the voice actresses doing backup singing in that bit as well, and then the way it like kind of snaps back into the chipper song right afterwards. That's of course the part I put in this video, as once again I put just my favorite part of each song in the video. The actual ED visually is Sensei just kind of walking around town with like an umbrella, I think. It's got great fashion sense. Itoshiki Sensei has some of the best fashion sense out of any guy in anime, I think. Yeah, it's just a fun little video. This is why I only put 60 EDs, is that there's not a ton of EDs I'm that passionate about. Mostly because, again, you know, I'm more into, like, energetic, over-the-top songs, which tend to be more of an OPs kind of thing. There's not a whole slew of EDs I'm mega passionate about. And so, like, even the back ones on this list, it was kind of like a struggle to fill it out to 60. You know, I had probably like 100 total candidates, and there were just a lot of them that I felt like I couldn't decide which one I liked more than the other. They're all just good, but not good enough to really be on my favorites list. So, you know, these last few just kind of round out the list, honestly, but they're still great, memorable, fun ED songs. At number 58, I've got the Better Man ED, mostly for just how bizarre the singing voice of the guy who sings on it is. I mean, it's kind of like I guess a hard rock, almost like similar to a metal song. Maybe it's like a gothy rock song. I don't know what the fuck genre it is. It's a very weird sounding song. And it's got these parts where, like, there's the singer is being backed up by, like, a mechanical voice, kind of. Like, it sounds like almost a growl, except it's, like, been fed through a filter to make it sound robotic. It's very weird. The imagery is also incredibly bizarre, because it's just this girl with big pink pigtails, like, falling down an endless void and spinning in circles. It's maddening. It's a little bit maddening. I remember this song because this show used to air on Tech TV, like, way back in 2004, and I never really caught a whole episode of it, but I caught the ED a couple of times, and I remember finding it again and just being like, what in the fuck is this song? It's pretty badass. I generally would say I'm a fan. I don't really know anything about the band who does it or anything like that. Maybe I should look into it, but it's not even so much that I adore the song. I just think it's so fucking strange sounding that it's noteworthy in that way. At number 57, I put the 5th Inuyasha ending song. Inuyasha is very famous for its EDs, particularly in the West. If you were to go to the Otakon karaoke, which I did not do this year because I had too much other shit to do for once. If you go there, like 50% of all the women who do karaoke are going to be doing either Every Heart or Fukai Mori, which are both great songs, but not enough to get on my list. Again, I'm not that into, like, pop R&B kind of music. I guess it's just pop, but it has that, like, R&B kind of pacing and flow to it. But yeah, like, I do really love the beat in Every Heart, and as a kid, I would drum that on my desk all the fucking time. But, like, as far as a song I would actually listen to today goes, ED5 is my favorite. I just love the huge sweeping chorus with all the, like, giant crash cymbal sounds. I love the violins that play all throughout this song. It's got that or whatever instrument they are, like that Japanese violin. It's got that combination of, you know, traditional Eastern sounding instrumentation in certain places combined with a pop song that very much matches the ethos of the soundtrack of the show. I mean, I was just saw Kaoru Wada at Otakon, the composer for Inuyasha, who sort of considers his life work to be the combination of traditional Japanese and Western instrumentation in orchestral arrangements, and that was the theory behind Inuyasha, which to him represented the pinnacle of his work in said combination. So yeah, it fits with the show really well, and is also kind of an epic and cool pop song. As far as ballads go, if I'm going to listen to one, I want it to be a power ballad, and this is very much that. But yeah, just had to represent the Inuyasha EDs in some way on my list, even if my choice is probably not the most popular one. At number 56, I have put Lucky Star ED number 17. So if you don't know, Lucky Star has a different ED for every single episode. In the first half of the show, it's all the girls doing karaoke of different anime songs or pop songs. And in the second half of the show, it's all Minoru Shiraishi, who is a voice actor who in The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya played as one of Kion's friends. and he is a very bit character who really doesn't matter. But there's one line where he's walking into a room and he's singing wa 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 suremono, which means forgot my something. And that meme somehow spiraled into becoming a full song. We'll get to that later. But Minoru Shiraishi, in Lucky Star, at the end of each episode, there's a segment called Lucky Channel, where it's Minoru Shiraishi and this other voice actress named Akira something, I don't remember. The two of them do like this, how would I describe it? It's like a panel show. I mean, it's like a podcast that you see video of. Like, it's meant to be, because they had a real radio show. Like, Lucky Channel was a radio show that was going at the time, and they were just, like, doing clips of it, basically. I don't know how the fuck to describe Lucky Channel. Lucky Star is a weird show. But Minoru Shiraishi, in the second half of the show, all the EDs are him filmed in live action, like on these cliff sides or in the forests around Mount Fuji, like singing a cappella into the wind while doing weird dances around. And some of the time he's singing the songs from the show. So in episode 17, he is singing the Lucky Star OP, which you'll remember from my OPs list. But it's just him singing, but he's like deliberately fucking up all the lyrics and just kind of singing it in this mumbly, like this way where he clearly doesn't know what the real lyrics are completely, and it's fucking hilarious. And like, that is how I tend to sing the song in my own head, like dun dun no dun dun ye cherry pie dun dun go da kan ya de sensation hi sonzai kan den den show say hana hara huru huru horo horo hara handa sirinda. Yeah, it's my favorite version of the Lucky Star OP, so it made my EDs list. That's all I gotta say about it, I guess. At number 55, I have the Tokyo ESP ED. And admittedly, I haven't spent as much time with this ED as I probably would have liked compared to a lot of the ones on this list. I mostly just remember it for being this unexpectedly insane heavy metal song that has, like, very regular J-pop vocals. Like, you could mistake this for, like, a baby metal song or something because, like, the singing is just, like, idol pop song, but not only is it like a chugging metal song, but it's got these chorus vocals in the background. It sounds crazy. It definitely is a unique type of song, and you know, I like my metal music, my insane heavy shit. So yeah, the video is also pretty cool. It's got some nice aesthetics. I mean, I didn't watch more than one episode of this show. I don't even think I saw the visual ED because it wasn't complete in the first episode. It was just like a black screen and they played the song. So yeah, I just remember this because on some of those Otakon trips, my cousin Boyd had it on the soundtrack compilation, so I heard it there. But you know, it's a pretty good song. At number 54, big fucking meme, I have the Asterisk War ED. Yes, that's right. The Asterisk War, the one, the only, the show I spent 13 videos tearing the asshole open of, but the ED is undeniably fucking great. And why wouldn't it be? I mean, it's composed by Rasmus Faber, who also did the soundtrack of the show, which is good. He is a good composer. He has a band called Platina Jazz that just does jazz renditions of anime songs. That's pretty cool. Look them up. And yeah, this ED has this like it's a pop song with like a swelling epic fucking electronic production. I mean, it's another power ballad, but the sound of it is just really unique. The palette of sonic choices made in this song, the way it explodes open in this very spacious, expansive way in the chorus, and it's sung by Maya Sakamoto, who is a beloved voice actress, one of my favorites, as well as singer. She works with Yoko Kanno most of the time. The way she sings the quiet parts, I'm waiting for the rain, I'm waiting for the thunder. Obviously, my voice does not do it justice, but it's very pretty. And when it blows open into that chorus, it's like, pour the rain all over my fucking chest. I want to tear my shirt open and stand in the torrent, stand in the in the fucking waterfall. Visually, it's got kind of a neat style with like the no outlines, like the simplistic color palette thing, but I mean, it's just the characters from the fucking Asterisk War. Like, there's no avoiding that. At number 53, I have the Aikatsu Friends ED. And I know there's a ton of great EDs for the original Aikatsu, but I haven't seen any of it yet. I'm new to the Aikatsu bandwagon, but I do quite enjoy Aikatsu Friends. And the ED is pretty much just a dance pop song. It's very much like something you'd expect to hear at a fashion show, which is what it's going for, obviously. The main thing about the song that I love is the bridge when she sings Dokomaremo, dokomaremo, ranna 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 ranway. I love that. And the ooh that she also sings sounds great. The part I like even more than the song really is actually the video in this case, because it's just kind of the main character starting her day walking around town, but the 3D models in Aikatsu Friends are so goddamn good. And I'm a huge fan of 3D art. Like, I criticize bad CG a lot in anime because most of it is handled very badly, but like, I fucking really adore like good 3D models and good 3D animation, and I love the Aikatsu models to death. I love the character designs in the first place, especially in Friends. So like, just getting to see those 3D models walking around is a lot of fun. It makes me like almost wish the whole show was just those. And you will hear this song in the show as well, as it is the main song that the two girls sing together. So, you know, you get to see them dance to it as well in a choreographed fashion. It's just a fun pop song, you know, not something I would casually listen to really, but I love it as the ED of the show. At number 52, I've got the Beck ED, which is actually one that I did not remember. I mean, I only saw the first 8 episodes of Beck, and it was over a decade ago. So I had forgotten about the ED completely until I saw it on an ED list while I was making mine, and I thought it sounded pretty fucking cool. It's a very much like early 2000s rock and roll song from like that rock revival era, with just like these enormous fuzzed out guitars that are really the main appeal. Like, just the tone of the guitars sounds really cool. Playing a pretty standard like rock and roll riff. There's like the vocals are that like, got a premonition that I found now my will coming down. You know, it's very fucking rock and roll, but with a pretty distinct sound that I like. The video is just like images of all these famous rock and roll superstars from around the world. I honestly don't recognize the majority of them, but yeah, it fits with Beck pretty well. And yeah, there's not much to say about it, honestly. Just a pretty good rock and roll song. At number 51, another one that I had forgotten about because I watched the show ages ago, and just hadn't kept up with every single song from it, is Gintama ED number 5. I found this again through other people's ED videos and was like, oh yeah, that one was pretty badass. I feel like there's probably some other Gintama OPs and EDs that possibly could have made either of my lists. I really just picked the ones that either were most memorable to me or that in watching other people's lists I found to be noteworthy and added to my own. I know a lot of people really like that, like other Gintama EDs more than the ones I like, but whatever. I obviously have very different tastes from a lot of people who do these lists. So, yeah, I really like this one because, as I talked about in the previous series of videos, I tend to like long, drawn-out melodic choruses that have like a rising and falling melody line, and this is one of those. I mean, like, most of the song is just repetitions of the chorus. It's like na 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 na. It's a sticky ass melody line played over some pretty standard, you know, 4-chord chugging punk rock riffs. Yeah, it's just a good song, just a good rock and roll track that that I could see myself listening to pretty regularly as compared to most songs from that show. At number 50, we're starting to get into some EDs that I actually care about a bit more than the ones we've discussed so far. Like, all of those are good, and I like them, but they're, you know, you might even be wondering, why didn't I just stop at 50 instead of going all the way to 60? But, like, I wanted to shout those EDs out. Like, whether they're particularly ones I'm passionate about or not, they are interesting to me in some way, and I felt deserving of recognition more so than some of the stuff that I cut from the list. But anyways, number 50 is the Clannad ED, which is one of the most interesting EDs I think ever, because it's so in the show Clannad, if you haven't seen it, the character, oh god, is her name Nagisa? Am I gonna fuck this up? Am I gonna fuck up the main girl in Clannad's name? I'm not the biggest fan of Clannad, as you may be aware, but she's obsessed with this thing called the Dango Daikazoku, or the Big Dango family. And Dango are these little, like, candy ball things that the character version of a Dango just has little eyeballs on it. So it's just this little candy that has eyes. And there's like this whole mythology of the Dango big family, which is all explored in this ED. It essentially is like an advertising jingle. Like, the main melody is Dango, 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 Daikazoku. Like, it sounds like a Japanese commercial for a candy. And what the lyrics describe is just, like, all the different members of the Big Dango family, what they do, essentially, which is, like, look at the moon and wave at the rabbit on the moon. It's weird. But what they've done with it musically is by using these very sparse pianos, and then in the chorus this big, like, undercurrent of choral vocals and, like, dramatic sounds, turned it into this very sad, poignant, like, melancholy ballad. And it is, I mean, that's a perfect representation of Clannad, if there ever was one. Like, just taking something very, like, innocuous and cutesy and, like, overly saccharine and turning it into this, like, melodramatic, sad fucking, thing that makes you all emotional, makes you feel like you're gonna cry. Like, it speaks to the way that show works perfectly. And yeah, it's also fucking adorable. Like, the way the song is sung is adorable. The visuals are absolutely adorable. All the pastel dangos and their little rolls in there. Yeah, it's a very noteworthy, very memorable ED. But I wouldn't probably listen to it on my own if not for the fact that it also is the subject of the greatest remix of all time. The song, if you have to Google this, so if you're going to be triggered by me saying this word, I don't care. But the song is called Dango Maniga. And if you Google that, do not listen to the longer version. You want the 5 minutes version, which is a remix of Dango Daikazoku with a, Busta Rhymes song. What's it called? Is it Dangerous? Is that the name of the song? Whatever. It's a Busta Rhymes song mixed with the Dango Daikazoku, and it is one of my favorite songs of all time. The Busta Rhymes verses are sublime. They fit over the song perfectly. The way that it hits the emotional peak when he's talking about being with all of his dudes at the club is fucking perfect. Yeah, it's a masterpiece, and it makes the existence of Dango Daikazoku having been worthwhile. At number 49, I've got the Durarara ED, and funnily enough, I hadn't really even taken note of this back when I first watched the show. It seemed to become extremely popular, and it was both the meme, it's a massive meme, the video, because the video is all of the characters, like, balanced on top of each other in this gigantic stack, and as the video goes, it's just scrolling down this giant image of all the characters. It became a huge art meme to draw all the characters in different shows in that formation. So that's really neat in and of itself, but, like, the song was also very popular. It basically sounds like a boy band song. Like, it's a super, like, late 90s, early 2000s boy band pop song. But it's just really well produced and catchy. And like, I generally don't, even though I'm not big into pop, I do kind of like the boy band pop kind of sound. Like, I grew up with, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, and like, some of those songs are just so much fun, and they can be kind of intense in a way when they have like a lot of instrumentation going on. Yeah, this song's got really clean production sound. The lyrics are kind of hilarious, but the singing is good, It's got another big, long chorus, which I like. It's just overall a fun boy band pop song, and it fits well with the idea of the show being in Ikebukuro, the fashion district of Japan, even if the show doesn't really have much in the way of fashion, but whatever. At number 48, I have the Ungo ED, which is this really densely layered, interesting, like, electronic pop song, but one that's, it's like, I won't say it's like IDM or anything, but like, it's very technical sounding. The rhythms are very off kilter. There's lots of different like bloops and bleeps flying in all directions and shit. It's got a male and female singer who both have very like haunting, distant sounds. Just the production on the song sounds amazing. Like, it's got one of those extremely clean, every note has an impact because it's so like just well coordinated, delightful chorus. The visuals are really cool. It's just kind of like the characters being animated in unique ways and with unique color palettes. It's another Bones one, so it's got that going for it. I keep forgetting I'm supposed to watch these before I talk about them, but yeah, this one, it looks and sounds cool as shit. I kind of rediscovered this one. I had forgotten about it, but I heard it in an ED's list, and once again was like, oh shit, that's right, the Ungo ED was good as fuck. I should listen to it more. At number 47, I have the third Rurouni Kenshin ED, Heart of Sword by TM Revolution, and this one is a pure nostalgia bomb for me. This song is so fucking quintessentially 90s, and by that I mean Japanese 90s, which are like the American 80s, but it's like this, played entirely on synthesizers. It sounds corny as fuck. It is like, there's no way that anybody today like would be able to get into this song uniquely without having heard it in the past. I think maybe I'm wrong, but it's just so corny and ridiculous with like the synth melodies and stuff. And TM Revolution's voice, which I've previously said I'm not the biggest fan of. So why is this on my list? Well, my friends, because I was obsessed with this song when I was younger, mostly because I was a huge fan of Rurouni Kenshin. And on the US broadcast of Rurouni Kenshin, oddly, while the OP was still Sobakasu, though they had actually dubbed it and it was called Freckles, and I had memorized that as well, the ED was still the Japanese song Heart of Sword, but whereas it is actually the third ED in Japan, they just had that be the ED for the whole show on the Cartoon Network broadcast. I was just hugely into Rurouni Kenshin, so, I fell in love with the song after hearing it enough times. I do think the chorus is really strong. It's a memorable melody. It's another one of the longer choruses, but I remember very distinctly the experience of not being able to find this song anywhere because, this is 2003. I didn't know how to use LimeWire, and YouTube was not a thing yet. So it was not so easy to find your favorite anime songs, but there was this website called The Otaku, which had a forum called Otaku Boards, where I spent most of my youth. And The Otaku had a plugin on the site that let you listen to MIDI versions of anime songs. And so they had a MIDI version of Heart of Sword, and I had listened to it over and over again. And I would open up the lyrics on animelyrics.com and like read the lyrics along to the MIDI song so I could learn it. Eventually, I found this comic store in my area. I lived in Newport News at the time. I think it might have been Comic Kings or something like that. I don't remember which one it was. But they had a box of Japanese CDs for some reason, even though they didn't really have a good like manga selection or anything, but they had a box of Japanese CDs, and they had the Rurouni Kenshin Best Themes collection, which had Heart of Sword on it. So I bought that, and I listened to the shit out of it, and we'll be talking about it again later. But yeah, I just had listened to the song so many times because I was such a big fan of the show that it is extremely nostalgic for me, even if it's not a song I particularly think is all that amazing. I mean, it's fine, it's fun, but it's not a song that I would regularly listen to in my day-to-day life now. It does have a pretty killer guitar solo in it towards the end, though. Very memorable guitar solo. At number 46, I've got the second Gurren Lagann ED, Minna no Peace by Afromania, which is just a fun, feel-good-ass rock song from the Bloomercore Masters Afromania, whose sound is like this combination of like a vaguely like reggae and hip-hop vibe in their vocals over like pretty normal rock music. I don't know how to describe it, but it sounds like they have the Afromania for sure. And they also did the ED for Birdie the Mighty Decode, which I am also a fan of. It did not make my list because I do not like it as much as Minna no Peace, which is a little bit more heavy and rocking. But between the two songs, you get a strong sense of what they're all about, because the chorus of the other song is like, let's all have a good time, everybody peace, nante, good the time, good the health, like... And then this one's Minna no Peace, it's alright, love and rock and note, okay, Minna de uta song for you, love and peace, rock in my soul. So basically they're just peace, love, and rock and roll. That's their whole message. That's what they're about. Feel good vibes. And they deliver that on this song. I like the way that the drums like change up in intensity, like mid-verse. The chorus is a lot of fun. It's just like a good jump around, feel good party song. The visuals are badass looking. It's just like older Simon walking with his back to the camera. It's like all these galaxies pass by. It's got that harsh black on white look, which is a contrast of the first ED, which will be further up my list. And the only thing that I have is like a real knock against this song that kind of keeps me from loving it more is that I've never heard a version of it that didn't sound compressed to fuck. Like, I don't know if it's just like the song was badly produced, but every time I hear it, it sounds like tinny and there's no fullness in the sound. It's like it's all... It sounds like there was this kind of trend in the mid-2000s of, like, producing stuff in a way that would only sound good on iPod headphones and or, like, coming out of a phone speaker. And this song has that sound. So, yeah, that's my biggest problem with it, is that it's, like, a good song that is marred by terrible-sounding production on any version I've heard. But still a fun party anthem for people who love life. At number 45, I've got the Toradora ED, Vanilla Salt. This seems to be the less popular of the Toradora EDs. I've never really understood why, but it's one that I've just worked its way into my brain, and it's mostly just the bass line. It's got this fatter than hell synth bass that's playing like boo dee doo doo boo doo doo dee doo boo boo doo doo dee doo boo boo doo doo dee doo boo doo dee doo. And it sounds great, and that bass just kind of walks through the whole song. Everything else is kind of like surrounding it, you know. The vocals are by what's her name, Yui Horie, who plays Minori in the show. And I'm not the biggest fan of Yui Horie's singing voice. I think she's not that great, but most because her voice is obnoxious. But I really like the melody of the song. I like the way the mid part's like, and of course the chorus, like the fact that it's so drawn out and long, but you've got that continuous driving bouncy rhythm in the background, like you dance to it while you're singing these long high notes. It's a fun song to dance and sing along to for sure. And I was like dancing while singing that, even though like, you know, I'm just hearing the bass in my head. The video is pretty cute. The part where Taiga is like walking to the beat in those little pink rain boots is pretty adorable. You know, it's just all the umbrella imagery, the like stark white background of it all. It's which reflects, of course, the fact that it's about vanilla salt. It's pretty good. pretty nice. The second ED is also good. It just never stuck with me in the same way. At number 44, I've got the Poke Rap, because I couldn't not. I memorized this when I was a kid. I can still do parts of it pretty well. I mean, let me see if I can. I want to be the best there ever was, to beat all the rest, yeah, that's my cause. Electro, Diglett, Nidoran, Mankey, Venusaur, Rattata, Fearow, Pidgey, Seaking, Jolteon, Dragonite, Ghastly, Ponyta, Vaporeon, Poliwrath, Butterfree! At least 150 or more to see. To be a Pokemon master is my destiny. I also love to do the sung bits, obviously, but yeah, I mean, it's like there's a bunch of different versions of it, of course. Like, it's 3 minutes in total, but each episode they would play a different segment of like 2 parts out of the like 8, I think, segments there are. So, you know, or maybe it's 10, because I know it would be like every 4 or 5 episodes it would reset. And so if you had a VHS tape with like 4 episodes on it, you would hear the whole Poke Rap. It's fucking genius. Although, actually, I think they would play just the complete Poke Rap at the end of the VHS tapes, and that's how I learned it. It was just by watching it over and over again. I mean, I'm just impressed that they managed to turn naming 150 Pokemon into a relatively tuneful rap song. There's definitely parts that work better than others, and like the more memorable ones are the ones that work better. Particularly the first and last ones. The last one being the Charmeleon, Wartortle, Mewtwo, Tentacruel, Aerodactyl, Ammonite, Slowpoke, Pidgeot, Arbok. That's all, folks. But yeah, I mean, what's there not to love? It's got all the Pokemon in it. So, you know, that's 150 reasons to love the song. At number 43, I have the first Rurouni Kenshin ED, which I had never gotten to hear as part of the show as a kid, but again, I had that best theme collection, and I became familiar with it. Although I actually can't remember the name of the song or band. I think it's called One Half, right? Oh god, it's not listed on the fucking YouTube video I just watched. Well, in any case, it's a very slick and cool rock song with this smooth bass that just dominates the whole track. Like, it's not even that it's like a super memorable bass melody, but just that it's really complex and sounds fucking great and smooth and buttery, and it makes the whole song groovable. It's also got a really killer guitar riff that plays like in between the verses, but the guitar and keys are mostly like an accompaniment to this fucking incredible bass and the singer, who just sounds great. He's got a cool voice. It's got a great chorus. I guess she could hate it. I need your love. I'm a stimulator. Give me your love. I obviously don't know the words, but yeah, fun fucking track. One that, you know, I could see regularly listening to. At number 42, I have the legendary ED of the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, the Hare Hare Yukai, which is, of course, best known for the fucking dance. And it really can't be understated how good and how powerful this dance was. I mean, the song is a fun song as well. It's a very energetic pop song, you know, front-loaded with tons of poppy keyboards playing a pretty memorable melody. The vocals are fun. Aya Hirano, I think, is singing, and she sounds great. The chorus is super bouncy and memorable. It's a good song. It's one that I would listen to as far as, you know, Anison goes. Like, I might not like pop music that much, but Anison is a different category. The, like, hyperactive, overly sugary shit that is unique to anime OPs and EDs. I have more of a soft spot for. But the dance is just so fucking good. I mean, it's realistically doable, for one thing. It's like a very it's easy to learn while being complex enough to be fun to watch and fun to perform. It looks natural for the characters to be doing it, and it's animated flawlessly. Like, you watch this dance and there's nothing like showy about it. it's not like trying to advertise how well animated it is. There's not a lot of like, personal touch given to it. It's not like crazy, like showing you anything really insane. It just looks like a real dance. Like it looks like the characters are really dancing. You don't even have to think about it. Once you do think about it, you'll be like, oh my God, like every frame of it is perfect. It moves at exactly the right speed to feel like you're really watching these characters dance. That is a technical achievement that is like beyond fathoming. Like, try to imagine just any old anime having a minute and a half. Granted, they didn't actually play the full dance in the ED. I think they would play different parts of it. I think like the ED changed in different episodes, but on the Blu-rays is the full dance version where you see all of it, and it looks amazing. Everybody learned it. If you were to go to anime conventions in the wake of Haruhi, there would always be somebody with a boombox playing the song, groups of people doing the dance. Regular people were learning it who weren't even anime fans. Prisoners were forced to learn it by weird draconian prison wardens. It was a time. It was the meme, and like Haruhi was a huge fucking show back when it came out, and like it's funny to see how much I don't feel like it gets talked about anymore. Like it's not really talked about the same way that other stuff that is regarded as classics is, even though it was extremely influential and important and was such a big deal. I think just because so much of it was momentary and it was stuff you had to like really be there for. It's like it's hard to appreciate why the Hare Hare Yukai is so revolutionary in an era where like anime characters dancing is now like a prominent marketing gimmick, which was just not. Like Haruhi made that a thing. That dance was the first time I had ever seen anime characters dance that fluidly before, and the Idolmaster would follow. Other shows would follow that. Like that was not it was not really a thing beforehand. And like the idea that was something to put that much technical effort into, like traditionally when you think high quality animation, you're expecting to see an action scene, in an anime. Like the idea of putting so much into such a realistic dance sequence, I think really became like a big thing after Haruhi, and it's still so much fun to watch and look back on and try to learn. It's good fucking shit, man. It's an important piece of otaku history. At number 41, it's just Yoake Umare Kuru Mono Yo. The Shakugan no Shana ED, the first one. What's it called? Is it Yoake Umare Kuru Shoujo? Something like that. Sung by the same artist as the Neon Genesis Evangelion OP that you all know and love. The first Shakugan no Shana ED is legendary in its own right in my mind. The song starts off with an a cappella section just like the intro of the Eva. Like it's exactly the same with like the choral vocals, the lone singer singing very dramatically. It's even more dramatic, even more memorable in my mind than the opening of the Eva OP, though it doesn't go in as good of a direction for the rest of the track. It's much more of a dance song, like just kind of like a generic 90s club song, honestly. It's pretty fucking cheesy. It sounds way old school for being in a show from 2006. And it's mostly just great for the chorus, which is super memorable and fun. And again, that opening bit, every time you end an episode and it cuts in with the Yoake Umare Kuru Mono Yo Keshite Yusi Sawanaide You are you Shoujo Yo Imakoso Furi Hodok Tachiagare. And then you hear the synths kick in, and you're just like, yeah! And, like, lyrically, it's basically the exact same thing as Eva also, except it's about, like, young girl instead of young man. It's really funny how much it is just kind of the same song, but like, worse. And, I mean, Shana is a terrible anime, but the ED, I mean, visually it's pretty cool, because it's all just character art from Noisy Ito, who, is great. She also was the original artist for Haruhi, and her Shauna designs are brilliant. I mean, Shauna is one of my favorite character designs, which is why I even watched that fucking show. But, that's it. That's all the EDs for today, because I'm doing 20 a video. We'll definitely be getting into ones that I'm a lot more passionate about in the next part. Like, pretty much from 30 onwards is where we get into, like, the, oh shit, this is one of my favorite fucking songs section. But yeah, these were all pretty good fucking shit. Also, I remembered the other OP I would have put in my OP list was Someone Else, the working OP, the first working OP. The visuals of that are absolutely fucking delightful. The song's a lot of fun. I did it at karaoke with a couple other guys back in 2010, and it was hilarious and a good time. Hyper energetic, fun song. Should have been on my OPs list, probably somewhere towards the back, the last 25% or so, but still good, goddammit. So I'll see you in the next part of the EDs list tomorrow, when it's gonna start getting real fucking serious. And let me know how you feel about that insert song list. I don't know why I'm asking you. You're just gonna say you want it if you're watching these. See you later.